Battle of the Challengers podcast with Vincent fucking Cloud.
And YouTube's Vicious Challenges, Scott Allwood. Yay, episode 2. I'm so glad I'm doing this one with you. Wait, no, I'm not. I didn't like this episode.
Whoa.
Very boring.
I was going to open it up like this, actually. I wanted to mention the views of the episode. Do you pay attention? Do you think it's relevant at all? Like, how do you feel about that?
I didn't see how much they did the first time, but I did look at the ratings for the second episode, and it was under 700,000.
Correct. Yeah. It was 0.69, baby. Yeah.
But you have to remember, oh my God.
I loved that you just kept going. You ignored it. That would have been so much better.
You have to remember that these are hour-and-a-half long episodes, so I think that has something to do with it not being as much. What was the first episode? It was probably, 800 something?
Yeah, it was 0.89. Yeah, which is actually that was above average for War of the Worlds 1. And this 0.69, that is very low. That might have been the lowest for the previous season. So, I mean, what the fuck? Lots of hype for the first episode. And what do you think? What happened in the first episode caused episode 2 to dip? What happened?
I'm not sure. It's a very good question, because I thought episode 1 was really engaging, great. I thought it could have used a little more diversity between the cast in terms of just, interviews, but I always feel that. But besides that, I thought it was a great first mission, great elimination. Everything about it was amazing, I thought, actually, yeah. Really solid episode. This one, not so much.
Oh, yeah. And here we go. Let's introduce the dip.
Oh, no.
Episode 2, God Save the Queen. I just wanted to start at the very beginning. Let's start off with the very first point I want to make, in where we left off, and that was Idris stays with the UK. And I thought that was a smart thing to do. It almost seemed like social suicide to switch right away, you know?
Oh, of course. This doesn't seem like it's going to pay off right away. I do think there will be a payoff, because someone's going to want to change at some point, and it's going to be so fun to watch when it happens. But so far, I don't think that it's going to happen anytime soon. And I do want to mention that once they change, they cannot change back. So even if they went to the other team, got immediately thrown into elimination and won, they are stuck.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
I think it's a good rule to have, so people aren't just flip-flopping back and forth. I mean, what's the point of that?
The second point I wanted to make was immediately afterwards, where everyone gets back home, and this is where Jordan throws an improv team meeting, and it's really just to expose Wes.
I was like, why has this not already happened? Why hasn't he already done it before the elimination? Why did it take so long? Why did he wait until all the way after the elimination for this to happen? He had this information earlier in the day. We saw him talking to Rogan. He already knew. So I wonder if maybe that happened right before the elimination, to where maybe it was later in the day than I initially thought. Because my thought was that it happened like at 2 p.m. And then he was like, all right, well, it's 11 p.m. now after the elimination. Let's have this get together. I think I just answered my own question. Never mind. Moving on. They're in the meeting, and Bananas is all nerd. And
First of all, I want to ask you a question. How about this? Can I ask you a question?
Okay, go for it.
It's not really a question, but a statement. I thought Wes's comeback was brilliant. He was just like, okay, so I heard that once, like, why did you change your vote? You said Rogan, and then you made a deal with Rogan that you would not throw him in for that information.
That was a brilliant deflectation. Is that a word? Deflection. I think it's just the normal word. But he played that. I mean, that's a great point, though. He's making a good point. It's a great deflection, but also at the same time, yeah, Jordan, you're trying to throw me under the bus, but you literally just told Rogan the same thing I told Rogan, which is that I'm not going to throw him in. And then at the elimination, him and Laurel were supposed to vote for Rogan, and then they decided to not. So I appreciated that whole scene. I love seeing the show about the game, and this I didn't think I was going to like watching the veterans at all. But they are so interesting to watch try to play this game together, because they are, like they all say, they all have those egos, and nobody wants to back down, and everyone wants to be in control, and everyone's trying to play their own game, and everyone's just clashing heads, and it is just fun. I didn't know why the producers put all these people on the same team, but now I'm starting to see it, and I really appreciate it. It still sucks that the UK is not as strong comparatively, like with each person, but it is fun to watch these Americans go at it.
I just wanted to add, in the meeting, Bananas is kind of like, oh, Wes is a piece of shit. I never knew. Bananas really seems to be kind of pushed back in the background these episodes, these first 2 episodes, right?
I love it.
It's great. He's
Love
still
it.
like chiming in with his shit, but he's not the center at all, which might be brilliant on his part. What do you think? Do you think people are actually just like, fuck, dude, fuck off? Or he's like, I'll actually hang back?
I don't think that it's his choice at all. If he had his way, he would be front and center like he always wants to be. I think it's just everybody else doesn't give a shit about him anymore. They don't see him as a strong competitor in terms, like, he's not going to be the person making decisions. And that's kind of fun to see. And
The other thing is, we will leave this meeting eventually, but I think Leroy got up and he was already just like, Wes, what the fuck, man? But honestly, like, I think you mentioned this already, like how Wes exposes Jordan for being a schemer as well, you know? And I think Zach overall has the best line. It's not during that meeting, but he does say, like, we're a bunch of snipers pointing guns at each other, waiting for someone to take the first shot. And I just thought that was brilliant because usually Zach is useless to me. He doesn't want to be there. We literally know he doesn't want to be there. You know what I mean?
right.
And
Yeah.
and finally, Bananas not being in the spotlight is exactly what pretty much happened in the ruins. Remember that? Where you have a team of alpha males and Bananas just isn't there, you know? It's great.
Yeah, he was kind of down on the totem pole. I will say that in the first episode, Wes was talking to the UK kids, you know, trying to rile them up, and Bananas is over there talking shit. And I'm just sitting there thinking, like, this is all you used to do, man. You just can't do it anymore because nobody trusts you. So you're just going to sit there and talk shit about Wes's game? That's all your game was trying to get all these stupid little rookies.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever,
Okay.
moving on.
Oh, before we get into the mission, dude, someone leaves.
Oh, yeah, Zahida.
Yeah.
Okay, see ya.
No.
See ya, Hida. See ya, Hida.
See,
No, I don't know. Never mind. No, it was just kind of a throwaway thing, too. Oh, yeah, by the way, Zahida's grandma's dead. Bye. She said bye.
yeah, and spoiler alert, she's not the only person who leaves the game. It'll be Faith. But so instead of just saying like, "Hey, Faith was annoying and loud last night," she left. Bye. That's all. I would have rather seen Zahida like, "Oh my god, my fucking grandma! She taught me everything I know," and shit like that. You know, something of substance.
We did see a little tiny clip of her sitting there on a bench, just kind of
poolside, because you know,
poolside crying.
yeah, it's not. It's I don't know. Maybe no one cries poolside. Maybe that's why they're like that. I think.
That's a great band name, Poolside Crying, or Crying by the Pool. I don't know.
Nobody cries poolside. That's the album, man. All right, let's talk about the mission, dude. It's called Cryptic Crossbow.
Such a cool name for such a lame mission.
Yes, exactly. You know what? I want to give you more of the legwork here. Describe why it's so lame.
All
Please.
right, so each of the teams are on a little paddle. Paddle? What? I'm already failing at describing it. Oh,
It's like a dock.
They're on a platform,
Yeah.
and they each have a board that has letters on it. So they have to each, in groups, 2 groups, go out, swim to these letters, bring them back, and try to figure out a word that is using the yellow spots that are also. I don't know. I don't really understand it, but they got to figure out a word so then they can. Okay, so they get all these pieces. They go back to the platform. When they do that, they're able to shoot off a person that they have designated onto their crossbow. So when they do this, this person is shot out. They go and grab a lock that is needed to be opened up by putting in a specific word. that they need
It's an
to
elaborate iron lung, right? In a
yeah,
way?
yeah, yeah. So then the other people have to figure out the word that needs to be put into the lock to open it up. Whoever does that the fastest wins. And I mean, UK shits the bed right away.
Wha-
It's just embarrassing to
Do they
watch.
now? Do they? If anything, I would say Idris shit the bed because he was so slow. CT
Oh, yeah.
swam behind him and just kind of like gently nudged him forward while they're both swimming. And Idris wasn't the only one. I think there was a clump, and there were three of them: CT, Idris, and someone else. But it took them that long to get the piece because remember the U.S. They were like, hey, we don't even have to fucking be right about it. You just have to have all the words on the board. So the U.S. with that fucking killer instinct, that thinking outside the box, really helped them with this, which CT didn't have. CT insisted they solve it first and then go
Right.
get the thing. Yeah, it was interesting to say the least.
That's the thing when you have a competition like this where there are a bunch of rookies against people who have played the game 5+ seasons each, maybe even 8 seasons plus each for the most part. They're all going to have that intuition to just try to figure out ways around the rules to go quicker. And they did exactly that, and they deserved this win. Joss got to he got shot out of the crossbow, and by the time he got to the actual lock to push it back, the U.S. had already won.
Yeah. And is this crossbow, this slingshot-like device, is that just a big distraction to like a very lame mission? Remember last season where they would have a monster truck there for no reason? They're like, oh, wait, oh, look at
Dude,
that
that's a
monster
great
truck.
point because this is essentially just swimming to letters and bringing them back to your platform.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, you can't do this as your second mission. You can't have a like the first mission was badass to watch. It was more of the setup. Again, it was pretty simple, but it was a lot of fun to watch, especially with them the trenches and stuff. They would have to jump over like it looked like a war zone. And with this one, it's just such a save this for the fourth one when people are already invested. You don't want to have a second mission to where, I mean, they've already bled 200,000 people in viewership. I don't even want to know what next week's ratings are going to be because this episode will determine whether people come back next week for the most part. I mean, they have their core base, but I don't expect next week to be any higher in terms of viewership because of this episode. I feel like it was the mission, and then the rest of the episode was just Georgia centric, doing this, doing that, like walking around talking to this person. It was so Georgia heavy. It was exhausting, and I like Georgia for the most part. I'm fine with her, but I don't want to see her for the next 3 episodes.
Well, she's coming up next, man. Wait, hold on. No, how do you feel about Wes being sick? Was it a publicity stunt? Was it for
Dude,
sympathy?
this actually is one of my favorite scenes in the episode. That comes up because of this is him going off to be sick. I think that there was something wrong. I don't know what, but there had to have been something. They're not just gonna. I mean, what did they go? Hey, do you want to go to the hospital? And he's like, yeah, yeah. And then he gets to the hospital, like, can I just chill here for a bit? I was faking it. I don't think that's the case. But when he comes back, I don't know how far into the episode this is. We can backtrack if need be. But when he comes back into the house, he's like flexing for the camera, like I'm back and healthy. And then he goes into the room and everyone's like, oh my gosh, hey, ah. And then Jordan slides open the glass door. He's like, oh, hey, Wes. So what'd you have? What did you have something? What was it? Come on, tell us. What was it? He is being so fucking obnoxious, and you can see him getting under Wes's skin immediately and so easily. And it is something that we don't see often. And it made me realize that we haven't seen Wes and Jordan on a challenge together, and besides, X's too. So this was super fun for me to see. Just them interacting and continuing to interact because clearly they don't like each other. They don't like each other's gameplay. And Jordan at this point is just trolling Wes so hard. And I like Wes. And I'm back and forth on Jordan. But right now, I'm loving Jordan this season because he is just cracking me up. He's being such a prick, cocky little weirdo. But he's also just kind of like the team let him be in charge. There's a reason he's in charge. They know he's fucking good. So that's my spiel on that.
Actually, the last time they were together was Champs versus Pros, the very first
Oh,
season.
right. Yeah, you're right. Because then they were in elimination together.
Yeah, exactly, man. Took them out. Oh, no, here we go. So let's get to the other part where they're like, all right, TJ's like, hey, who's in charge here? Who's going to be the speaker? Let's have a tribunal. I think Zach says, should we vote, right? But no one says shit, right? And then Cam does what fucking Jordan did. Hey, it's me.
Yeah,
right?
See, I thought they had already all discussed with Jordan. Like,
oh, really?
I felt like it was kind of already discussed. I mean, I think it was, especially now that they're having such a big deal with Cam just randomly doing it. I don't feel there was any. Well, even if he did, I guess they didn't know what he was signing up for. He was just being the speaker to choose who they were, like being the voice of the team. He wasn't choosing himself to be in the tribunal. He just kind of got lucky in the sense of TJ was like, all right, well, hey, guess what? You're in the tribunal.
Oh, okay. So they're not just giving her shit because, to me, I was like, hey, she did what Jordan did. But if that's true, then yeah. But that's why I love Cam, though. She is a take charge kind of gal, man. Like, she's fucking out for blood. It's awesome. And friendship.
That's exactly what the whole team is. Like, everybody on that team, wanted to just go, me! But she just happened to be the one who decided to have the balls to do it at that point. Everybody on that team is power hungry. And that's why they were pissed that she did it, is because then she got the power and they didn't.
I have a question. Has it been established that anybody can be the speaker for the team on any male or female day? Because it was a male day when Jordan was, and it's a female day when Cam is.
I think the fact that Polly got pissed off about having to be in the tribunal on a girls' day shows that anyone can be just in the speaker or in the tribunal, on whatever day that it ends up being. And if I was him, I would have been mad too. I'm like, I don't want to be safe right now. What the fuck is that going to do me? One thing I didn't like about Cam being in charge is that, okay, so the tribunal gets to pick a person from the other team to go into elimination.
Right.
So Cam is all about, oh, I'm going to pick the strongest because, I'm not about to play that weak shit of where people are just, trying to play a safe game and this and that. You're only picking a strong person because you don't have to go against them. It's going to be against the other team. Not saying that she would be afraid to go against Georgia, but I'm saying that she's only wanting to go after the top dogs because their team are not going to have to face them. It's a UK person that they already have to, the team has to choose, so then they get to pick whoever they want. They want to pick another UK person, and she's acting like it's some big deal that she's picking a strong person. Like, no, it makes sense that she would do that. What, Vince?
I think it's beyond that. I think it's also a big political move because not only are you establishing an enemy on the other team, but they're also a very powerful player, or a big presence or whatever. So I think that's what she also means when she says, I'm going to call out, what does she say? I don't know. Someone of significance, Like that's right. What, had Wes got his way in episode 1, that would be considered a power move of sorts because, Bear is pretty good and he's got way more connections in the house, you know what I'm saying? And what was Idris, right? So in comparison, it's the better move to go for Georgia, although I thought they were going to go for Jenny the entire fucking time, but whatever.
I think they knew that Georgia had a chance of losing a little more, a more percentage of chance to lose than Jenny did.
All right, so Cam, votes Polly in. Polly at first is mad, but then he doesn't really do anything. He doesn't really deliver on any of that, right? And then she also picks Ashley. Why? Just because she's willing to make those bold moves, perhaps? I mean, they're both Ashley and Polly and Cam are very brash politically. You know, they like to just declare shit. You know, whether they have the power or not, they like to say they're going to make those big moves and do oftentimes. So I do like those three up there. Care to comment?
I'm fine with the three. I get why Cam's wanting to find a few people to. I feel like she's trying to find a few people to get an alliance with. She's trying to get into the Cara Polly alliance, and if Ashley wants to be your friend in the game too, that's going to be beneficial. The more people you have, the better. And I think that's really what this all boils down to, is just Cam is trying to uh, like open up her chances of alliance. Because right now all she has is what, Kaylee, who's on the other team. That's not going to help you.
True. All right, moving on to the UK nominations, where basically, oh my gosh, this is actually kind of funny. Where Bear sits down, Kyle sits down and is like, okay, so I want to be like CT. He's telling to confession.
Right.
He's like, I want to be the kind of Overwatch or the father figure or the leader or in some way. And he's like, okay, so basically the women want to go against you, Big T. You know, and then CT, without even saying like, excuse me, he just says, "How about let's hear?" Or no, he doesn't say "how about," doesn't he? Does he? He just says, "How about let's hear?" Oh shit! Fucking how about? God damn it!
Let's hear what the women have to say about
Yes,
this
thank
kind
you.
of
Oh
thing.
my gosh, CT did what Kyle and I could not do.
Yeah, I thought it was very amusing. I like Kyle. He's grown on me, and I enjoy little moments like this because he's just kind of like, yeah, I was stupid just then, and I wish I wasn't, but I was.
And I also find it very funny that he does not care for his team. You know, he's said
Oh
it
my
a couple
gosh, yeah.
times. Yeah.
He's like, oh, I'd switch right over right now if I could.
Okay, so what happens is Big T is declared, and then also, what's that other name? Esther?
Esther.
Esther?
Yeah, just call her Esther. I don't know.
And then, before anything else happens, who fucking speaks up? Is it
Kaylee.
Kaylee?
Well, like, yeah, she's like, well, why are we all just talking about these two when there's two other rookies? Bringing up a great point, which we haven't discussed, about how Georgia was like, you're most likely going in, Big T, because Nicole
Yes.
is going to the end with me. She's protected by me.
Okay, I just have to say though, she started off with good intentions though, because she was like,
Oh, I agree.
it sucks when you're blindsided. You want to know ahead of time, and we've seen this done before, where like the older cast will be like, hey man, just looking out for you, man. Like this is probably what's gonna happen. It's so stupid, but it's always rookies first. But when when Big T does mention like why not Nicole, right? That's when everything starts to go wrong, right?
Well, I mean,
For
Georgia
Georgia.
makes a good point. Like, of course, we're not going to put in, like, I'm one of the top two girls of this team. Everybody knows that. Like, do you have to make me say it? And just because I say it, am I a bad person for saying it? No, I am I am a good part of this team, and I don't want my best friend going in. So just fucking go in, you rook.
Wow.
Georgia was pretty nice about it, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought it was kind of strange that people were questioning it. It makes sense that people were questioning it, but to the extent, literally everybody is trying to protect their friend. So the fact that they were like, oh, what? Georgia's going to be saying that she's trying to protect her friend? What? She's a bitch. She needs to go in. How dare she have such a big head? What?
Okay, so this is the moment there is a moment where Kaylee goes to her fucking best friend on the other side, Cam. Does Kaylee do the inception on Cam to be like, hey, put in Georgia, even though it seemed like everyone was
Yeah, I
go
feel
for
like
Jenny.
Cam was already kind of. I feel like Cam was thinking Georgia already. That's the vibe I got. but then Kaylee kind of nudged it along that way too.
I thought they were gonna try and do Jenny. Let's talk about Jenny real quick. Holy shit, she's fucking
She's a
massive.
beast. Oh my gosh, I love that scene when earlier in the episode she's like trying to teach the girls like, okay, do this, let's do a workout. But really she's just gauging how they would all do.
Oh my God.
And then Big T's over here just kind of like smelling her own farts. That's how bad she's doing. And then yeah, she's like, yeah, she stinks. And then the rest of them are pretty good. And CT's over there just making the weirdest faces. Like, oh, yeah, Jenny's pretty good. Anyway, sorry, I just remember that scene and how, because we're talking about Jenny. So
yeah.
I guess it's relevant, but she's a beast. You can tell she would murder anybody in the show. But the puzzle aspect, who knows?
Yeah, we really don't know. Going back to the nominations, though, it does end up being no. Eventually, Jenny and Nicole are brought up, right? They are brought up for
So
possible
then
nominations.
I think it was C2 was like, okay, so who wants Nicole? Nobody. Who wants Jenny? Nobody. Who wants Esther? Freaking Kaylee raises her hand for this girl after just fighting about how she wanted Nicole and Jenny to be up for nomination as well. She didn't even pick the people she was fighting to put it. It was so silly and funny at the same time.
Wow, I didn't even notice that. That's fucking
And everybody
crazy.
everybody else was like, no, we're picking Big T. So this whole conversation was a waste of time. Big T, just like Kyle said at the beginning, we're going Big T.
That's true. That's true. Okay, so this is the tribunal doesn't tear apart at the ego and the self esteem of this person here, like they did Sean from Shipwrecked.
Oh my god,
right?
yeah.
So they're very
They
nice.
were really sweet. Yeah, they were nice.
Yeah, they were very nice, and they were like basically. Okay, so Polly asks, who are the top four in charge? I can tell by just looking at them, but who do you think is? Is that what he asked? It was really weird.
Yeah.
He worded it very fucking weird.
Yeah, that was basically it.
Yeah.
And then she said, what, like CT, Kyle? She doesn't know what the fuck's going on. She was just like, CT talked right now and Kyle talked right now and they're so yeah.
And then they ask who she doesn't want or want, but basically it's like, I don't want Jenny, but I'll take anyone else on, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is just fine. Moving on. Before we get into eliminations, we got to say goodbye to someone else, Scott. Who is she?
Oh no, Faith. Someone who I wish wasn't even on this season because I don't care about her. And this made me care about her less. When they're talking.
Yeah, that is crazy, man. It's the challenge house. Almost everyone says that, like, what did you expect? This is not even your first time, you know? Like,
Right.
fuck.
Exactly.
Oh my God. Jesus Christ.
And then
So
she what?
we lost
What she do?
Faith. Oh, we mentioned the pans.
No, we didn't.
God damn it. I don't know. I wanted to pass all this up because it's so
really
annoying.
doesn't matter
It doesn't,
because Faith is a non-factor in this entire show at this point. So it really doesn't matter. She banged a pot, woke Bear up. Bear's like, "What the hell?" And then we moved on because she left.
she left, right? And that kind of helps even out the UK and the US. But who the fuck leaves the US team? You are guaranteed to,
right?
you know?
Your stacked team, you're not going to be losing anytime soon. It seems. I mean, they've won twice and fairly easily.
Jesus Christ, man. I don't know what was going on with her. Maybe her
All over
grandmother
one
left.
night.
I don't know. Okay, so into eliminations called. Ooh, let me ask you this: how do you feel about the eliminations called Proven Grounds?
I've
Yeah,
never been one of those
thank you,
people
thank
that-
you. There you go.
I've never really been one to give a shit about the name, but this is a fairly bad name.
Yeah,
But I mean, it gives them the chance to say, "I'm here to prove myself," just like Georgia did when they nominated her in.
It's very true. Very true. Okay, so this is called Firestarter, but hold on. Let's get to it's going to be Big T versus Georgia. There was who was the first one to declare it? Cam, right?
Yeah, it was Cam.
Yeah, and then everyone
Yeah.
else.
And then Polly, then Ashley.
Yeah. How, break this down.
Is there more you wanted to talk about?
I
for
don't
that, or-
know. Maybe this is again. This is again, though. I'm just pointing this out that when we're talking about this episode, it's just it's a lull. Everything just kind of dips. You're just like, oh, there wasn't
I think the first one had so much with each of the specific parts of the game that this one seemed fairly simple the whole entire way through. Because the first one had, Jordan and Wes, and then Wes was at the nomination and really getting into Sean, and it was hilarious as fuck. And then there was Wes being like saying Bear's name, and the other two saying a different name, and then there was just all this drama surrounding everything that was happening with the vote and who was involved with the vote in the tribunal. And then this one was just, oh, we want Georgia. Why did I speak that way for the Americans? But yeah, it was just all very standard, and okay, yeah, they want her, so I guess put her in. And
But it is a power move, I would say. Like Georgia.
I don't think Georgia thought she was going to go in.
Yeah.
So I guess it was like a, hey, you can go in, bitch.
All right, so this is Firestarter, and it's crazy. It's just like a big dumpster full of wood, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And like a burning chimney. And and then there was hanging wicks, but I honestly thought it should have been a circle of wicks with every other,
Okay.
opponent.
Like
and
they
shit.
had to, like they had to do more than just one wick. That would have probably been more interesting to watch.
Oh no, not more than one wick. I mean, you still have to at least burn one, but there should have been wicks all over the place, so you were constantly just moving around and stuff. For about an hour and 35 minutes, Scott.
Your version probably would have been done in 30 seconds and not made for as good as TV.
Was this good TV, though?
You're right. No, it was not.
Okay.
Because I feel bad for them going back for an hour and a half. It's fucking boring. I would hate to be sitting there watching this going like, all right, let's move along. If I was them, dude, I would be crying if Big T won. Like, what the fuck are we gonna do? We got fucking Big T coming back. One of our strongest players are gone. We're already losing the first two missions. We're fucked. We're fucked. Thanks, MTV. What the fuck what is the point of this? Did you want to see us just crumble and lose the entire time? You looking for championships for Leroy and Nani finally? Why?
This was in the rain, and almost every elimination ever in the rain has been fucking sweet to look at. They've been cool as shit. Not this one. I mean,
Well, I feel like they added the water after an hour because they were like, wow, this is fucking boring.
really,
Let's just
I didn't think of that.
add some water and let's spray the sprinklers and stuff. Because I kept thinking, how are they going to light this thing if it's water everywhere?
I didn't even. They faked the rain.
Well, Susie at one point said that they faked the rain on her in the runes.
What?
So I just assume that they do that now when there's elimination.
I never heard of that, Scott.
Yeah.
You
It was like her and some other girl, I believe.
Kimberly,
doing
yeah,
the,
it was
doing
Kimberly.
doing the tug of war or something.
That is nuts. That really, wow. Okay, whatever. Okay, so after an hour and 35 minutes, what we get out of this is just mutual respect for Big T and Georgia. Like that.
I don't want to see Big T come back. She's not going to be good. She had this good performance for whatever fucking reason. It's not that she's a good competitor. She's not going to come back and be a good competitor all of a sudden. She fucking sucks. I don't want her back at all. Was not a fan.
Well, Georgia comes back, and then TJ's like, "Okay, who you joining?" And she's like, "I got to take a second to explain myself." But it's still with UK. What was her fucking thing? She was just like, "I'd rather stay with real friends than fake friends." That's it, right?
Yeah. Pretty much. And she said it, she had like a 4-minute speech to just say that, yeah. Total reality star diva move.
It, well, not even diva move. I think that's just a good move in general. Again, Idris, he was just like, he just kind of pointed, and then he's like,
So you want, yeah, I guess, I mean, it would make, it's more fun to see a speech.
yeah,
Might as well have a speech instead of just a point.
exactly, man. So, that was the end of the episode. All right, man. Hey, let's hope that the third episode fucking picks up, because you know what? Here's something to say. All right, two big teams, right? You have mentioned a couple times, because I've asked you about this. You really like Gauntlet 3, and I never did. I felt like it was just so fucking slanted, veterans versus the rookies. The rookies, it was just a shit team. The veterans were stacked, right? I never liked that season, and that was the season where the veterans won, like, what, 80% of the time? If this happens here, are we looking for?
Right.
Are we looking at viewers just dipping with that trend? You know what I mean?
I don't know, because I think a lot of the casual viewers they want the Americans to keep winning. I don't think they necessarily give a care about the UK. So if USA keeps winning, they're going to be like, "Yay, on my team." Maybe they might get bored with that. I don't know. Maybe they don't know that they need the other team to win. I will say part of the reason I love Gauntlet 3 is because Frank is on Gauntlet 3 and he's the fucking man.
The Frank who got with Jillian, they shared earphones for a second.
That is so funny. That's how you're describing him. But yes, exactly him.
You know what I'm talking about,
Remember-
right?
yes, I
That
remember
particular
that
scene.
moment,
Yeah. That's hilarious. All right, see, now that's how you fucking end an episode right there. I saved it.
Yes.
Saved it.
Yes, sir. Yes,
All right,
sir.
here we go. So, like, subscribe, comment. This was Battle of the Challenges podcast with Vincent Cloud.
And Scotty Allwood. Well,